Hey, Faith, let's take another quick look in Philippians. We're in chapter 2, and we're moving along just a little bit, but I got a couple of verses I'd like to highlight this morning. So we're in chapter 2, beginning in verse 3, where Paul says, "Do nothing from selfish ambition or conceit, but in humility count others more significant than yourselves. Let each of you look not only to his own interests, but also to the interests of others." And this is, I think, where the heart of Paul's letter is coming to us. He's preparing to give us the great example of Jesus Christ doing the same thing. But he's really getting at a key that we need to really wrestle with in society. In fact, we will be closing out 1 Peter in church on Sunday, and Peter thought so much of this topic of humility that he uses it as his final words as he's closing out the letter. And so it's very important for us to open our ears and see what is he talking about here. Very easy for us to see the conceit in others. We see it in politics, we see it in business, we see it in education, we see it in traffic. I mean, we're always looking out for our own interests. We always think we deserve a smoother path to where we're going. And because of that, it shows up in so many different ways. And it's a very subtle thing in our own hearts. Easy to spot in other people, very difficult to spot in ourselves. And so Paul is holding the mirror up and saying, do nothing out of selfish ambition or even conceit. So selfish ambition being like, I'm so driven to get what I want, and conceit saying, I deserve it. So those two elements are something that Paul is saying, put those off, and by God's grace, whatever he tells us to put off, he gives us a replacement to put on. He says, instead, in humility, count others more significant than yourselves. Folks, this isn't that hard to do when we set our hearts to living for the good of somebody else. We can practice it in politics. We can practice it in business. We can practice it in our education arenas. We can even practice it, yes, in traffic. In fact, practicing it there gets us ready for how we're going to spend the rest of the day. What if, both figuratively and literally, I'm going to yield my right of way for others to be advantaged by my actions today? So certainly much bigger than just traffic, but it shows up in the little things. How do we set our day to say, Lord, I want to demonstrate your path forward. I want to demonstrate the way that you yielded your rights so that I might find grace and that I might find hope and fulfillment. I might find forgiveness for my own sins. And how do I offer that to somebody else? I hope that's an encouragement to you. I'm looking forward to going forward in Philippians chapter 2 as we strengthen this idea of what it means to lay down our lives for others. God bless you all.